We've set a challenge for 3 geography teachers from King Edward VI Five-Ways School in Birmingham. They're being summoned to a secret location where they'll find this box. Inside are 4 mystery resources and an envelope containing the subject of the lesson they need to prepare and teach to this class of Year 9 pupils by this afternoon. The team is led by award-winning Head of Geography Paula Cooper, but it's the 2 young teachers from her department that will be teaching the final 50-minute lesson. Graduate teacher Stuart Deere is the youngest member of the team. He's got lots of enthusiasm, but very little experience.
Starter.
God, I think making it relevant and bringing it to life is one of the most important things in geography.
Second on the team is NQT Katie Bush. She's used to carefully planning her lessons, but this time she'll need to think quickly.
I know.
I need to make a decision because I think we've got them in about 5 minutes.
Often teaching is thought to be a lot of planning, and it is, but sometimes the best ideas come when you walk into a classroom and go, actually, I've just thought of a brilliant starter.
Their challenge: use the resources they discover in the box to create an innovative lesson that brings key Stage 3 geography to life.
What are we going to do with that?
Interesting.
OK, we'll just think about that one for a while, maybe.
It's 8:30 a.m. and our intrepid team of geography teachers are stepping out of their comfort zone. They're on the way to a mystery location where they'll find out the subject of the lesson and the resources they'll be using. They've also got to find one more resource of their own to use in the lesson.
We could have anything though and link it to geography.
Well, this is it. They could put anything in there.
The resources inside the box have been specially chosen by 2 experts in the field. First expert is John Thorns, a meteorologist from the University of Birmingham.
I think geography teachers sometimes make it too sort of statistical, and I think some of the sort of more unexciting lessons are often when you're learning just reams of statistics about a particular place. So I think you can make it much more exciting than that.
The second expert comes from the Royal Geographical Society, Kate Amos. She trains geography ambassadors who go into schools to work alongside teachers. She often uses a hot topic bag that contains objects which spark creative thinking in the young trainees.
It might be the simplest of things, like a chopstick, and that might represent China. It might be some house keys that might represent property or property prices, the credit crunch. It might be a £20 note, that's always a good one. I hope the teachers will be excited when they open their box. Lots of nice, touchy-feely, exciting things.
The team are almost at their destination.
The scent of a bonnet.
They've arrived in the heart of Birmingham City. We're bringing them to a brownfield site with a difference. It's on top of a roof. This sustainable, eco-friendly space should give them a clue to the topic of their lesson.
Oh, here's the box. There's a box.
The box. Okay.
So you can open it.
Got it.
There's one here. Let's have a look.
OK.
Aha!
Oh, my
You can read
goodness.
that.
OK, let's see what's in the envelope. Climate change.
Climate.
An easy, small topic then, Lee. What have we got else then?
A jar.
A jar.
Right.
An empty jar.
Right.
What are we going to do with that?
Interesting.
OK, we'll just
No idea.
think about that one for a while, maybe.
2 CDs. Interesting.
CDs.
If I see 2.
What else have we got? Yeah, lots of paper.
Oh,
wow. Oh,
think
they're
we
together. Oh,
wonderful.
The Earth.
Fantastic. Highly appropriate.
I love the pictures of the world. I think they're brilliant, and I think that they're an amazing resource to use just because they have the wow factor. And then obviously there was a rubber ring, and that was slightly bizarre. It took us a while to sort of work out how we're going to use that.
OK.
Oh, interesting.
The link to the sea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the Joker.
Excellent.
Is there anything else?
Is there anything else in there?
A newspaper.
Cut pollution, you must be choking.
Okay.
Okay,
Like
comparing
Kyoto and
countries,
China.
that's interesting. We're going to really have to think about where to start, I think, with the topic of climate change.
Some
Yeah,
practical
definitely.
visual
Yeah,
aids
yeah,
to get us
yeah.
We're
going.
hoping for something really good, really stimulating and challenging in the visual stuff here, so that might be our starting point, maybe. But I don't know, it's like
We need some
Daunting
thinking
prospects.
space.
it's a bit daunting, but be all right.
These are the key, I think.
Yeah.
What's going to be on these?
Right, let's
Right.
go.
Let's go and get some planning done.
Lead the way,
Right.
Stu.
We took them away and then we kind of slightly thought, well, what on earth are we going to do with these? And when we had almost the biggest issue was the topic, because it is so huge. And actually your role as a geography teacher is to make this really dense, difficult, much misrepresented topic clearer and understandable and digestible for them. So we had to focus on some part, but I think our initial discussions were, my goodness, where are we going to start?
What are we going to do with these? So we're looking at climate change.
This is made in China, so that would help contribute and get them thinking about that. So it's really thinking about who is responsible for this. Is it solely China, or can we start to think about other countries contributing as part of that? So our next concern was, what aspect of this are we going to focus on? And we had to make that decision quite quickly, because then we wanted to get on with our planning. So that was really important. Like, what aspect is it going to be? I think the thing that we're most perplexed by is
The jar is perplexing. So we're still an idea of where it's made. That's important, and perhaps it is full of atmosphere and you can't see it, and yet it's our greatest threat. Might be a prop to help make a point.
Yeah.
What other resource could we add to our bank of resources that we have here?
We could use that World Mapper map. We'll have to go onto the internet and have a
Yeah.
look at it. But I'm sure they've got one with CO2 production on.
Absolutely. And they're visually stunning, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really good, focused on places and where it's being produced, and that would enable us to make some really good links with real places across the planet.
Back at the school, the team need to gather up their own final object to add to the lesson. They're going for a map resource they've used before, and it's downloadable from the web.
You go to A to Z map index. And go down carbon dioxide. I think we thought that as geographers there really ought to be a map in there. Maps are sort of fundamental to what we do. They're kind of the language of geography in a way, and that visual and graphical literacy is really important. And we thought the World Mapper, because it's a skewed version, a deliberate view of the world, we thought that would be really interesting to put in, so that you've got the satellite image of the planet and you've got this representation of the planet, and we thought it was quite a good link between the planet and the issue. Oh, that's quite good. It's pretty clear, isn't it, who the producers and who aren't.
So that'd be really good in that, as it is 2000, we could then compare it to the graph that we have on the newspaper article and say, how would this map change if we made an up-to-date 2008 one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely
So
scope for
China
them to
would then
update
be
it.
getting
Increase
bigger.
of China's prominence. And it just illustrates it really nicely in a way that can provoke a lot of analysis and a lot of in-depth thought with distorting the countries. It's really nice to see.
There's just so many hooks and prompts, isn't there, for them to make comments about the CO2 contribution of different nations in different parts. And I think you could pick up ideas of uneven development and uneven impacts. So maybe that would be a good prompt. Give them some places to refer to, maybe.
Right, so we need to get that printed off then.
Yeah, let's get going.
Let's go.
Super.
We've got 45 minutes, I think, so we need to be ready. So we need to start planning.
But first, they're going to watch the DVDs that came in the box. They contain some crucial tips from the experts.
My name is Kate Amis. I manage the Geography Ambassador scheme here at the Royal Geographical Society in Kensington, London. I've chosen this inflatable plastic ring as my first prop. I think it would make a great opener, a great warmer, a real hands-on feel to the beginning of the lesson. The pupils will be looking at it and thinking, what could the link be between this and global warming? Do they recognise the plastic industry is a source of global emissions? The second object I've chosen is this newspaper article. Quite light on text, it contains a graph and a photograph behind. So it's a great resource to use with children. Thinking about looking at that graph very critically, getting the pupils to look at the graph critically. What is it actually showing us? Because apart from science, you do also need to make reference to the way in which media handles the issue.
I think it's really interesting because obviously she was thinking of this being used as a starter, and that's what we
thought.
Beginning to think about.
I like it coming up at the beginning as a prompt, like the kids, like you said, what is this about? And then but it also remaining important throughout the lesson as the starter, but also fundamentally as a project that is directly contributing to the problem that we see.
And then this is good as well because she was picking out the detail of the graph and the text. I think if we think of creative ways of using that as well, then that'll really come out reading that carefully.
Well, one quite good way is to separate the key elements of the article, which encourages the students to be more, and to be critical, I think is really important.
My name is Professor John Thorns from the University of Birmingham, the School of Geography, Earth and Environmental Sciences. Yes, I think when the teachers initially get this out of the box, they'll probably see this is an image that they've had many times before, or they think it's so familiar that they'll think, well, what's this to do with climate change? But I think the obvious thing that the image shows us is that the Earth and the sort of planet Earth is in fact actually surrounded by atmosphere. Hopefully they will realise that the atmosphere is very small, and it's almost like the varnish on a globe. It's very thin and very fragile, but at the same time the atmosphere is actually our most valuable resource on the planet. So the second object is of course this jar. What we need to think about is the links between what's in this jar and this picture, in terms of how can the air that looks so controlled and almost invisible in this bottle lead to all the weather and climate that we get over the globe. The teachers need to get across the message that understanding the science of climate change is very important, because often we just concentrate on the impacts.
I think that encapsulates one of the big challenges for us as geographers, is that you're talking about a huge issue that has a whole matter of science behind it, and that is very important to us as geographers in the way the atmosphere works and how complex that is. And then you've got the whole environmental human interactions part of it, and the impacts, the consequences for the environment and for people, and our role in that. And that's a huge amount to unpick, and that's what makes it sometimes a challenging topic and a difficult topic to teach sometimes, and one that sometimes isn't taught too well because of that complexity.